Joining me now is someone who's been fighting the battle for ballot access and helping people do what they can to make sure their votes are counted. Stacey Abrams, the founder of Fair Fight Action, an organization to address voter suppression. Fair Count, an organization fighting the fair counting of the census in America as well. She's the author of the recent book, Our Time Is Now: Power, Purpose, and the Fight for a Fair America. It's great to have you on, Stacey, and I thought of you because you have had to fight on two levels, both in your campaign and in the work you've done, which is at a sort of structural policy level, lawsuits and policy fights to open up access to voting and fight back against disenfranchisement, but also at the personal level, like making sure people do go and vote, that they do jump through the hoops that have been created by other people for them so that they can actually exercise their franchise. And it seems to me that's a useful model for thinking about this election.
I hope so. I mean, part of the work that I've been committed to doing since I was 17 has been about making sure people understand the power of their vote. My parents would take us to protest, but they would also take us to go and vote with them when they would cast their ballots. And they wanted us to understand that both are necessary. One is about demanding what we need, and the second is about ensuring that we get it. And if we don't put those two pieces together, wrong will win. The other side will be victorious because we only fight half the battle.
There's some news out of Georgia, which is it's such a fascinating state right now. I mean, it's always been a fascinating state, but because of the changes that are happening there, because of how hard fought that state is looking like it might be, and it may be in the presidential election, DeKalb County, which is trending towards the Democrats, they want to send to everyone the county absentee ballots, and the Secretary of State has sort of stepped in to tell them, don't do that. Don't send absentee ballot requests to everyone that you have on your voter rolls. What do you make of that action by the Republican Secretary of State?
Well, it's even more than that. So DeKalb County is actually a deeply blue county. It is majority African American, and it has the ability to add tens of thousands of votes to the rolls if every eligible voter casts their ballots. And so what we are hearing from Secretary of State Raffensperger is fear that if everyone who is eligible to vote, particularly those who last voted for Barack Obama, if they show up and vote for Joe Biden, that this will tip the state of Georgia. Because what we have to remember, we have seen dramatic declines in the margins from 8 points in 2012 for Barack Obama to 1.4% in my election. And they know that if every eligible voter, not every active voter, which is a list that cuts off those who haven't voted in the last 5 years and starts them towards the process of being purged, if every eligible voter knows they have the right to vote and can do so by mail, they're deeply terrified that this will be the death knell of Republicans winning the state of Georgia. And they know if we can win the top of the ticket, that means we're going to win 2 Senate seats, flip a House seat, Republican, Democrat, and that we can likely flip the chamber in the House of Representatives.
It's such a great point. I want to just reread this quote, right? He wanted to reconsider sending absentee ballot requests to both active and inactive voters. That's not a real category. That's not in the Constitution. That's not a category in democratic theory. That's not a category in the law, active and active. It's not a use it or lose it situation. Like, you're a voter. You can vote. You can vote. You can vote if you want to or not vote, but you don't, inactive isn't some second class of voter.
Exactly. Well, and it's what they used right now in 2020. Georgia has roughly 7.4 million registered voters. But in June, when they sent out absentee ballot applications, they only sent it to they sent it to about 6.9 million voters. They left off all of the inactive voters because those are voters they've tagged as voters that they don't think will be able to vote in a few years. And so they're slowly moving them out of the eye of voters and out of the eye of candidates who would otherwise reach out to them and pull them back into the process. That's actually one of the things I talk about in my book. The shenanigans used not simply to disenfranchise those who are active voters, but the way they try to dissuade and discourage those who may have chosen not to vote in recent elections, so they actually get moved out of the conversation altogether.